Alright, hello and welcome back to another episode of The Journey Through the Ages. We are back another time with a 1945 car. This is the other French company instead of just Gordia, which made the 4PV. This one is Francesco, and it is the Persones 2DS. That's the car being made. So this time, instead of going through every decision, I just decided to pre-make the car, then go over the entire thing afterwards for the element of time. So we're going with this body here, or this body style family. With that, let's get into the chassis. So we went with an aluminum space frame made out of steel. The engine is mid-transverse, and it's got double wishbone on both the suspension options. We go over here to the engine now. And the engine is a 2.5 liter inline 6 made of cast iron with 3 valve overhead cam. It's cast iron on both the head and the block. And again, cast all the way through the crank conrods and pistons. It's got the compression set to 6.8 and the cam profile is 56. No turbos because it's not even available. The fuel system, it's a single barrel Eco with a twin carburetor, standard intake. It's running regular fuel with a fuel mixture of 15, which is as low as it can actually get. And the ignition timing set to 86, which is quite high with an RPM limit of 5,300. And the reason for all of this is because this car, Francesco is, the idea behind this company is they like to make sporty eco cars, or eco-friendly sports cars. I think that's more the way to describe it. They're more focused on making sports cars, but they also like to be eco-friendly. The exhaust is tubular. I really don't know why you would ever choose cast log. I guess just for the engineering time, because the tubular takes a little longer, but you get so many benefits from going with tubular, it makes no sense not to. Single exhaust, no valves. Exhaust diameter is 2 inches. And then it has a baffled second muffler because, saving my ears, inline 6s are notoriously loud coming from automation. And all of that leads to an engine that pumps out 121 pounds of torque and 110 horsepower. And it's incredibly quiet. Unless you have it at max rev, then it can be a little bit louder. Over here, the body style, we're going with this interesting, sporty looking body style. I don't even know what that is. So again, since the engine is mid-mounted, we've got all this air venting in the back. So we've got the intakes coming in here, bringing in the air, and the cooling out here. Got in here, we got Personas, their logo. The Francesco logo is the bird. It's a relatively simple back end, but since this is technically the engine cover, you don't want it to be super complicated. And then, because it's the 2-door sport, is the people's 2-door sports car. It's got this logo here for 2-door and then sport. And then the front end is kind of just very old school looking, but has a very interesting design. I just kind of really liked it as I went along with it. And France is another company that uses these long license plates, so that's why they have those. Yeah, so that's what the car looks like. Oh, and the exhaust is coming out of the side over here with a really big looking exhaust. Alright, so the drivetrain is rear-wheel drive with a 3-speed manual, set to 112, but it's not reaching 112. It can only reach 103. The spacing is set to 0, so it's long and has no wheel spin, which does mean it's a slug off the line, but once it gets going, it's got all the power in either gear you're in. Open diff. The wheels are cross-ply tires with a hard, long life. Since it is meant to be able to be driven economically, you know, the tires are going to need to be able to last forever. We got 100 width on the front, 135 on the rear. And it's got 15-inch rims. You can see they're pretty nice. And the steering actually turned out perfectly in here, except I will say, oops, I think I bumped the mic. I will say it definitely will oversteer when you're in that part of the power band. I've already taken the car over to make sure that it was tuned the way I wanted. The brakes are drums on both sides. It's got 9 inches on the front, 12 inches on the rear. And that actually does allow it to stop pretty well. The pad type is at 33%, in between race and comfort, I guess. So they're more comfortable than they are race. No under tray. It's got good airflow all the way through. Your brakes are not going to die on you. The interior is actually basically a bench. It's not the sportiest setup, but you can get you, your spouse, and your one kid in this car. So all good there. It is designed based as a sport car, so I gave it sport. And then no entertainment. The car is the entertainment. It's kind of very much a weird mixture, having a family kind of bench, but sport interior. I don't know. The driver aids, there are none, but it does get standard 40s. And then the suspension is set up more on the sporty side, but you know, it does drive really well. You can even see over here the markets are coming up with it's a sports car, it's a muscle car, it's a grand touring car. So did a really good job at making a car that is definitely a sports car. And then to go even crazier is the fact that it is, where's the economy? Let me go back over here. No. Go over here. So its fuel efficiency, it's sitting at 15 miles per gallon, which for 1940s is insane. Most cars were not near 40 or 15. I believe it wasn't really until like the 60s where cars started to get around 20 or 30. Yeah, so that's this car. With that, oh, and like I said, it tops out at 103. The car's weight is actually not that bad, considering it's only about just under 2,000 pounds. You can see here, though, the big problem with this car is because it's mid-engine mounted. That means that most of the weight is sitting right here. Alright, so let's get the car over into BeamNG and see how it drives. Okay, and so here we are in BeamNG. And the car is looking good. The color came out nicely. And it has the many, many vents. So the map here is the Swiss Alps because there is no French map, and Switzerland is the closest thing to France. that I have available anyway. So, with that, let's turn the car on. You can hear it rev up. It sounds good and loud. I'm going to turn on the head. And let's go. So now, like I said, it doesn't really want to go right away. It's a pretty good car. As long as you're not crazy on the throttle. Well, I mean, you can even be pretty crazy on it and it'll still go. And the brakes are really, really good, assuming you don't stomp on them. If you don't slam on them, they won't lock up. But they will stop the car very well. Oh, shoot. Oh, come on. It struggles a little bit. But here is the other French car, the 4PV. You can see it's much smaller. Well, not actually as small as I thought it was. But we're here at the time trial course in the Swiss Alps, and I'm just going to do a rough time trial as a comparison between the two French companies in my world here. There is my thing. And alright, so here we go. We've got the car lined up. And put it into first. And let's go. So what we're going to do is we're going to race these two cars up to the top of this mountain as fast as they will go. Now, this is probably one of the best vehicles from the 40 series. It's not the fastest, and it only goes 70 at top end, but it is probably one of the most capable vehicles. And it does handle very, very well. Oh gosh. I didn't think it was going to turn there for a second. But the problem with this car is that it's kind of average. I mean, it's climbing going, what, 40? Pretty consistent? That's not bad at all. Now, a little fun fact. France is actually... Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Now, a little fun fact, France is actually one of, like, the countries that is usually up at the front when it comes to racing. They really enjoy it. As I did a bunch of research into different racing series and their origins, it became very evident that France was all about any form of racing. Original rally racing, hill climb type stuff. They're all about it. Oh no. Oops. I'm not doing a very good job right now. This car was a 4-speed? I didn't even remember that. Ooh, shoot. Sorry if I'm a little bit quiet. I'm kind of focused because this car kind of requires it. Both of these vehicles are only rear-wheel drive, and this one has a surprising amount of power even though it can only reach 70. Come on. That's not going to stop the car. It's a tough car. When I designed this one, I designed it to have some pretty powerful suspension, since it was designed after the 2CV, which is a phenomenal vehicle in real life. Across the line. So, just loose testing, you know, nothing too serious, and it got a 435. So let's see if the kind of purpose-built sports car can improve on that. Okay, and there we go. And time has started. Now I'm going to be shifting a little lower in the RPM in some areas because this car's weight being at the rear will cause it issues. Unfortunately, due to the way that the engine is tuned overall, the drivetrain is tuned overall, it really doesn't accelerate quite as fast as I would like. But it's made up for a little bit with its top end and its overall control. These cars get. These are just unofficial. Oh, come on. Okay, so the other car might be a bit better climbing a hill, as this one seems to be struggling. So problem number one, when it comes to a mid-mounted engine, as I said, that 65% of its weight is in the back. Okay, there we go. If it's starts going around, you're not going to recover it. I'm just glad it didn't go off the cliff. I mean, once the car does get into its power band, the thing goes. Uh-oh. Oh no. Ooh, that is bad. Oh, come on. Nope. Nope, nope, bad. Come on. I feel like I need to give this thing a 4th gear. The only... Oh my god. The big problem with giving it gearing in automation though is you don't get control over how they're geared. So ideally this car would have one gear very low so that you can accelerate properly and the other 2 gears spread throughout. But automation likes to yell about wheel spin. And to be fair, this car might actually wheel spin pretty badly if the gear looks different. Oh goodness, come on, get a turn. I'm trying to be very careful with the turning so that I don't end up with the back flying around on it. Come on. And that's an insurance claim. So, if the... Let me see if I can back it up over here real quick. How badly did I damn... Oh, that's not looking good. Okay. Fix these real quick. And there we go. So, if the 4PV made it in a 435, the whatever. This one, the 2DS, made it in a 428. Again, these are semi-unofficial times, and I'll probably try and get some better ones later on, but it is in fact sportier. It's majorly let down though by the fact that it only has that low gear problem. In first gear, it just can't get going, whereas the 4PV does have a better gearing setup. But with that, 2 French companies are set up for the 40s. And that's going to be an end of the episode right here. So I'll see you next time.